Hello, this is Paul Nelson with Western Sport Floors, Wyoming Wood Floors, coming to you today from Clinton, Montana. We just have a great video in store about hand scraping hardwood floors. This is a little bit outside of the typical thing that we do every day on gymnasium floors, but I did a project in my own house, wanted to share it with you. I had consulted a little bit with a friend by the name of Dave Marzalek. Dave is with DM Hardwood Floor Designs out of Golden, Colorado. I'm going to bring him on via the telephone today, and he's going to talk and share his expertise in hand scraping hardwood floors. Here we go. Let's call Dave. Hey Dave, it's Paul Nelson, Western Sport Floors.
Hey, I just pulled in. How you doing?
I'm doing well. So why is hand scraping hardwood floors such a unique look?
It's a textured floor. It could go several different ways. You know, it could be elegant, it could be rough. There's actually really no rules in hand scrape floor. It's a beautiful look because you get to be an artist with the scraping. Scrape around knots, make them pop out. I've been scraping floors for 4 years.
I enjoyed what you said. There's no rules. So every mechanic, every hardwood floor guy that does a hand scrape floor is going to do it slightly differently, isn't he?
Exactly.
You also train younger guys or anybody within the industry that would like to learn. Don't you have a school coming up in September?
Yeah, I have a school at Denver Hardwood, September 19th to the 23rd, and we will be scraping a panel or two over there. We are building a wilderness inlay and 2 entry foyers.
Awesome. So somebody would really like some education on how to do this. Denver Hardwood Floors, September 19th to September 23rd. What is the cost of that school, Dave?
$1,200.
$1,200?
Yep, and
Okay.
they're going to learn everything from marquetry to parquetry to hand scraping, and we're going to do some custom color.
Awesome. $1,200 to learn how to be a better craftsman. You can probably make that up on one job, couldn't you?
Absolutely.
Have a good day, my friend. Thank you for coming on board.
Thank you very much.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So now I just wanted to walk through our little project. We decided to put some hardwood floors in our home for a couple of reasons. Number one, I had a 20-year-old carpet that was filthy and I detested. Number two, I sell hardwood floors. I sell gymnasium floors. I wanted a gymnasium floor basically in my house. Now, 2¼ inch, 1½ inch strip maple, kind of a commodity floor. So I decided to hand scrape this floor. And because we didn't stain it, it's fairly subdued. The scrapes are really subtle, but they're there. Certainly feel them when you walk across the floor with socks on. As Dave pointed out, this floor is pretty well impervious to dog scratches and kids and just some of the other things that beat up hardwood floors because it's already beat up. So it's an awesome floor, absolutely awesome floor to live on because you don't have to worry too much about the everyday scratches. They're already scratched up. So here we are. This is where we start, taking down some trim. This was a project we decided to work on during the winter time, just when we had some time. Actually ended up taking us 4 months to do this project because we were juggling it in between gym jobs and we made a trip to Argentina and had a whole bunch of other things going on in our life. But at any rate, start this job like I'd start any other job, taking off some trim, taking up some carpeting, and then as most houses are basically a rectangle, we shot a square line all the way down the hallway and used that longest run in the house to build out the floor in 2 directions. Pretty typical as to how it's even done in a gym, but as far as I know, this is how it's always done in a house. As you can see, this was done in the wintertime, so lots of muddy boots coming in here, making a little bit of a mess on this floor. Some of this flooring was extra that we had on multiple jobs. It didn't all fit together well, so in the end we decided to completely float this with filler throughout the entire floor. We have a new machine that's new to our company. It's this Workmaster. This is actually a concrete grinding machine. I'm going to do a separate video talk about this machine. I will tell you it did a fabulous job of cutting out the overwood. And this floor did have a lot of overwood, as it was kind of a hodgepodge of flooring materials that we had left over from a number of different jobs and even different mills. And so it didn't all fit together exactly correctly, but the Workmaster did a great job of cutting it flat. Continuing my floor scraping procedure, I have two very high-end scrapers. They're Home Depot paint scrapers, but they have a little, basically they're a square edge on them. And I'm going to just ease this corner a little bit so that I'm not digging in with the corner of those scrapers. I think any grinder would do this. I just happen to have a flooring edger handy. I'm sure this is a completely OSHA approved way of doing this. What I did is I just eased the corners on those scrapers a little bit, and I'll do the rest of it with a file. So now that I've eased the edge on that scraper, I'm going to just sharpen the whole thing up with a file. So now we're scraping the floor. There's really no magic to this. As Dave said, there's no real rules to this per se. This was 2 1/4 and 1 1/2 inch maple. I was scraping each board 4 or 5 times. When you're right down on the floor like that, if I had any scratches that were left over from the sanding, I was making sure I got those scratches out. But it's just putting an undulation, a little scrape mark in each and every board. If there was any overwood left, using the scraper to scrape off that overwood. I don't believe Dave uses a sander at all. He does 100% scraping, even with finish on the floor. Obviously, you can see here that this, as Dave mentioned, full body workout, and you're tired when you're done scraping a floor. Once we have the floor completely scraped, I just use an orbital to do the edging, and I screen the floor with a 120 grit screen, just to pull off if there was any little curly cues that were still left on the floor. We just screened it. Then we put all new trim in the house, so that was part of the one component of the project. Here we've got sealer on the floor. And now the stove, fridge, and dishwasher have been reset, and the project is complete. Best part of any project is looking at the work that you've done. Hand scraping is an interesting way to finish a hardwood floor. It is a lot of work, but also, as Dave mentioned, it can be a profitable way to make a living, because there is not a lot of guys that are willing to do it. For Western Sport Floors and Wyoming Wood Floors, this is Paul Nelson. You make it a great day.